It is Thursday, May 15th. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. Oh, this has nothing to do with anything, SP3. Is your StreamYard like extremely white all of a sudden?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When did they change this? Like it became a thing just the other day. Like it was normal and there was some darkness to it, or there was at least some color. Like it is white.
Very
Like,
white. It's very extremely
white.
Very extremely white. I mean, some people like that. I don't know.
I logged on this morning. I was like, why is it this white? Like what? Why are we in a padded cell in StreamYard here? What are we doing here? If we can't get some,
I have no clue.
Decorations or nothing, that's what it looks like. It's very off-putting. Very off-putting for how they made it. I don't like it one bit.
Jeremy sound like Dr. Umar. I don't like any of this white stuff.
Look, white people are the worst, so I don't need more white when I'm just like looking at the StreamYard here. Like, what
I literally see. I always got your back, yo. Even when you're not here, that day that you showed up on when you were driving to the concert, and Cam was like, "Joe, you're partly white." I was like, "Nah, you need to ask Jeremy. Jeremy is not white. He is the blackest white man that I know."
I appreciate that, but we got a lot to talk about in the world of wrestling. More white people in wrestling. There was still a lot of color in the main event of AEW Dynamite. So color in multiple ways, whether it's color of skin or color coming out of your skin is what was going on there. Guys, leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out. Then we get the fireworks going. Just subliminal messaging on the show. That fucking hand is white as well. Cursing 5 minutes in.
And they talk about me. They're criticizing me yesterday. Jeremy wanted to show my rant.
Oh, that's so good though.
I got Mrs. Joel Pearl saying I have a potty mouth and I need to watch my language. I knew what time it was. We were like an hour and a half into Tuesday's episode. I was full clearance to curse at that point. I'm very proper on most of my show. You should have seen me when I was on Wrestle Talk. I went like a good 6-7 months without cursing. Like I know where I'm at. But they've opened the range here on In the Weeds, especially being next to Jeremy. I know when it's time that I could fully curse. And Joe Pearlsey, I'm gonna start off the show how we usually start off every couple of weeks or every 2 weeks or every week sometimes. I'm gonna rant about Joel because Joel wants to be up here and defending Pat McAfee, being like, I got what he was saying with the Trampoline Wrestling Association. So you know what I did, Jeremy? I was like, you know what? Let me rewatch this and like understand where my problem was. My problem is it's not Pat McAfee being like, oh, you know, this is a personal story to me. It's Pat McAfee trying to put over that he's the everyman, that he's like every fan out there. Oh, me and you know, we have the Trampoline Wrestling Association. I grew up in New York City. I ain't had no Trampoline Wrestling Association. I jumped off my couch and we're doing Sabu moves. That's what I did. I ain't have no trampoline. I ain't have no backyard. I live in an apartment. What the hell are you talking about? Shut up! Shut up! Just celebrate Sabu!
Well, Pat McAfee is white, and he was the white everyman who had a trampoline and a backyard. SP3.
I'm every fan. You know, we all have our Trampoline Wrestling Association. You know, couldn't be like, you know, I watched Sabu against Terry Funk and really show that you were actually a fan of Sabu. No, we all, you know, emulated Sabu with the Trampoline Wrestling Association because I'm just like all of you guys. That's him putting over himself. You fell for the joke, Joel. You fell for the joke.
I was wondering how you would react when Joel was trying to defend him. I'm like, I can't do it, Joel. I can't defend this man. I can't. I didn't think he was good on Monday.
See, I'm addressing everything right off the bat. Also, this is not the same thing as me. I went through a whole Saturday podcast where Chrissy and Josh were trying to get people fired from WWE. I never want to see anybody with their main source of income, them losing their jobs. Pat McAfee, this is like his third or fourth job. Dude, he don't need this job. Like, what are we talking about here? Let's not compare that. Let's not compare the two. Let's not make me sound like, Pat McAfee, he's not gonna have another job if he loses the WWE job. This is like his third job. He's like Uncle Ruckus on Boondocks. If he loses the 38th job, he still got 37, 36, 35, 34. See, thank you. My kid telling me to shut up 6 minutes into the episode.
Pat McAfee defender Harlem over here.
Because I mentioned Uncle Ruckus. She's starting to support Uncle Ruckus out here.
Guys, leave a super chat. Get your question, comment, statement read on the air. Leave a thumbs up on the video. I already said that. I did the fireworks, but you can do it again. Unlike the thumbs up and then leave it again. Subscribe to the channel. All that stuff helps us out. SP3 is just going to bury Pat McAfee all night. All day.
Joel and Pat McAfee. This is what I'm doing today.
I respect it. Oh, man. SP3, the Indiana Pacers have moved on to the conference finals. We're talking basketball to start this off, everybody. The Indiana Pacers have moved on. The New York Knicks have not moved on. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have moved on. Those are the updates since we last spoke on Tuesday. Nothing else has happened. Nothing else happens tonight. I refuse to talk about it.
I'm going to be very conflicted in the Eastern Conference Finals because it's two of my things that I like the most in sports when my team is out of it. I either like when the team that beat us is so winner and the champion, or the team that I said was going to win is the winner and the champion. So I'm going to be very conflicted in the conference finals for the West.
So you're one of you're someone who supports, or not supports, but like I guess appreciates the team that beats you if they go on to win. All right, I'm not saying it's like a bad thing or anything. I know people who are. You basically go one of both ways when your team gets knocked out. Like you either just don't care about the rest of the playoffs and you don't care who wins and you like really don't want to see the team that beats you win, or you might support that team or appreciate that team because it's like, oh, okay, well, we lost to the eventual champions. Like, what are you going to do? Like they're the champs. They deserve to, they beat us. So they won. That makes us look a little bit better. Okay. I'm on the other side for the most part. I guess it'll be circumstances, right? Because if we lose to the Nuggets, I will appreciate and support the Nuggets because I want Russ to win his first title. So that's where I'm looking at from a Nuggets perspective, or from a Thunder fan cheering for the Nuggets. So I can appreciate them if they win. My hockey team, I'm not supporting the Dallas Stars. I'm not supporting what they've done. It's too much of a rivalry to really support them.
That's
you know,
fair.
like
if we're in the NBA
the
finals
Clippers
and the Celtics beat us, then I'm not going to be rooting for the Celtics.
The finals,
Clippers,
the finals a different story. Obviously, you don't want your team to lose in the finals. You're not going to be happy because we lost in the finals. Like no matter who beats you. Let's say like the Clippers beat you in the first round. You're not going to like support the Clippers the rest of the way, right? Okay.
No. If the Nuggets beat anytime the Nuggets beat us, I've never rooted for the Nuggets. That's too much of a rivalry over the last couple of years. The Sacramento Kings, the Portland Trailblazers, like we got rivalries that go back years. Like anyone from our division, like it was with the Phoenix Suns, I would not be rooting for the Phoenix Suns. I think it is different when it's like that type of team. Like if we lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I would still root for the Thunder because there's not a real rivalry there. The Minnesota Timberwolves, there's no real rivalry here. And you know me, I've told you multiple times, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Edwards. Ever since we seen him in that Adam Sandler movie as Kermit, I've been a fan of his. And then got to see like Starting Five on Netflix, the documentary series that like followed him around. And I saw that he was playing video games and made his family wait like hours to eat Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, yeah, I gotta root for this kid. This kid is like one of my nephews at this point. Like I gotta root for this kid. Like he's just so humanized and so like. I feel like I've grown up with people that are exactly like Anthony Edwards, so I can root for Anthony Edwards. So that's another reason why I would like just because they beat me, I'm not gonna be like, oh, F them, I want them to lose. No, I'd rather say, hey, my Lakers lost to the Western Conference champions, or my Lakers lost to a team that made it to the NBA Finals. I'd rather say that with a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves in comparison to pretty much all the other teams. Like another one would probably be like the Warriors, because I've always kind of liked the Warriors and Steph Curry all these years. But like the Minnesota Timberwolves is a best case scenario out of all the teams that were in the playoffs.
My rooting interest, Thunder side, obviously, is Nuggets if they win, Pacers, and then I don't really care. I don't care about the Timberwolves and the Knicks if one of them.
Oh, I hate the Knicks. I hate the Knicks.
You're not gonna root for the Knicks.
I hate the Celtics. So like, I want both of them to lose. I hope that the Pacers go to the NBA Finals by default. Like I would love it to be 3-3 and then Game 7. You know, something happens where it's just a tie and they both are eliminated. I would love that. That would be the best case scenario for me.
I do wonder how much basketball I will watch when the Thunder inevitably lose Game 7 on a Russell Westbrook game winner, because I haven't watched a single second of hockey since my team got eliminated. Just not a single second. Clips have come across my timeline. I immediately scroll past it. I've not turned on a single game. I have no idea. I know who's around because I see the scores, but I haven't watched a single second. I'm still too devastated to like turn the game on. Like maybe once the finals start, depending on who's on the finals. I know Matthew's in the chat, and I like you, Matthew. I also know you're a Stars fan. I'm gonna be completely honest. I got no interest in watching the Dallas Stars. I got no interest in hearing them talk about Miko. I got no interest in hearing them talk about how they beat the Avs. Like just none. So as long as they're playing, I'm probably not going to watch hockey because I just don't care to see that stuff get brought up. And it's so like, I don't know, petty, but I could watch the Eastern Conference, but then they're going to do an ad. The Dallas Stars are playing. I'm like, nope, don't even want to hear that shit. So I'm not watching any hockey until Dallas gets eliminated. And look, I don't even think they're going to get eliminated. I think they're going to win the cup. I thought they were going to win the cup when they traded me for Miko. I was like, oof, that's a good trade. They're going to be tough. I put money on them to win the cup when they traded for Miko. So I will become a little bit richer. Not that I'm rich, but I'll have a little bit more money if they do end up winning the cup because I like their team. I just didn't like losing to them, and I'm not going to like losing to them. Basketball, I'll keep watching. If the Thunder lose to the Nuggets, I'll keep watching. If we lose to the Timberwolves, I don't know how much interest I'm going to have in the finals. I'll watch a little bit, so we'll see. But
yeah, I didn't even watch the Boston and New York game because I watched Game 4, and when the Knicks went up and I stopped watching, and then Jason Tatum got injured, I was like, maybe I'm the jinx. Maybe I should not watch this game at all. And they did well. It's going to be, I want it to go 7. That's all I want. I want it to go 7 between the Knicks and the Celtics. I have no rooting interest. I can't root for either team. And, you know, I think I've seen it in the chat. Like, oh, the SP3 is the one New Yorker, or I'm one of a few New Yorkers who doesn't like the Knicks. It's because I've grown up in New York, ladies and gentlemen. And I've seen the Knicks get paid and be the highest grossing NBA team for the past 3 to 4 decades off of losing and being inferior at putting together a winning team. Yes, the team this year, and I said this at the beginning of the year, I thought that the Knicks would make it to the conference finals because of the trade that they made with Karl Anthony Towns, and they have a better team than they had last year, and they throughout this series have shown that dog that they had last year, despite the injuries catching up to them last year. I can be objective and say yes, the Knicks are better than they have been in years past. But I'm also grown up around Knicks fans my entire life who have rooted for mediocrity my entire life, and I just don't mess with mediocrity like that. I don't.
That's a Lakers exceptionalism coming out.
Hey, maybe it is. And you know, I could have been a Charlotte Hornets fan. I told the story before. I became a Lakers fan because I became a fan of Kobe Bryant during his McDonald's All-American game in 1996. My sister took me to that game, and I was like, "Oh, this kid is awesome! Like he's so good." I was like, "I'm gonna root for whatever team he's a part of," and that's how I became a Lakers fan. If he would have stayed on the Charlotte Hornets, I'd be up here wearing light blue and rocking old school Charlotte Hornets gear, and he would have been the greatest Hornet of all time. But he got traded to the greatest franchise in NBA history. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's how the NBA gods work. That's not exceptionalism. I was just born into this. This is what I was supposed to do. My kids are born into being Lakers fans. That's what they're going to be doing, whether they like it or not.
That's because the NBA is always going to favor the Lakers. It's just how it's going to be.
Seems so.
The tiny one is we like to ask like who she's gonna pick in these games. She's always picking the Nuggets because she likes chicken nuggets. So like I can't ask her who you want, the Thunder or the Nuggets. Like she ain't picking the Thunder. She associates Thunder with stuff that is not good. It's like Nuggets. Oh, chicken nuggets. Yeah,
like
let's go Nuggets.
Oh, I don't like.
All right, kid, get out of here. I ain't forcing these kids to watch any type of sports, like none of them, because I ain't putting them through the misery that I go through. Kidding me? I don't wish this upon my worst enemy. That's just my children. So, no, I ain't forcing them any type of sports. If they want them, sometimes they'll watch regular season games with me. I feel like the wife has a chat with them of like, don't bother Jeremy right now. Just you gotta leave him be right now. Probably think I'm just holed up in some cave, just being miserable.
It's like, what's wrong with Jeremy?
Why can't we go talk to Jeremy right now? Like, nope, you can talk to him maybe in an hour and a half, but you got to get the okay. You got to get the clear before that happens. And then after the games, I talked to my friend Sammer. We're always chatting after the games, win or lose, we're chatting. So like even after like a game, it's like, no, now you got to give me like an hour to talk with Sammer to decompress from the game, and then maybe I will speak to you. So you just got to leave me alone for like a good 4-5 hours, depending on what happens. The wife is saying they both do the Browns. They watched the Browns when they were younger. That doesn't end well for anybody. So that's unfortunate.
Hey, even being a Cavs fan didn't work out well this year.
No. I was rooting for the Cavs. Like, I thought they had a good team. The injuries kind of hurt them, and then the Pacers are good. Like, I thought the Pacers were gonna be a tough matchup for them, and they were. They were a tough matchup for the Bucks and then the Cavs. So the Pacers are good, man. Like, I think they're gonna beat the Knicks too, assuming they play the Knicks. I think they'll beat Boston. Like, I think the Pacers are going to the finals is what I'm hitting at here. Halliburton's that guy, and their defense has been great. They've been one of the best teams since the start of January.
Yeah.
There ain't too many flaws on that team. Like, they keep having to make these large comebacks, which can, be taxing, but they're a good team.
they show poise in those pressure moments. So I really like the Pacers. I've liked them a lot since the Siakam trade, and we've seen how it's been for them ever since then. And they look like they're on their way to another conference finals, straight back-to-back years, and I think that they have what it takes to make it to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to count out the Knicks because we've seen if you count out the Knicks, they come back even harder. So I'm going to stop doing that so they can play the way Knicks are supposed to play. So yeah, I think that it's going to be a really good series, considering if the Knicks win Game 6. If the Knicks win Game 6, great. If they don't win Game 6,
I think they'll figure it out. Like, I think they'll figure it out.
I hope so. I hope so.
I hope it goes 7.
I have family in New York. I don't want to see what happens if the Knicks blow this league. I don't want to see you see. They always show the video of the Knicks fans celebrating. What was it? Game 3 of the first round against Trae Young a couple of years ago, and they were like, right. "Oh, we won!" Celebrating one playoff victory. That embarrassing. I remember I ranted about that on this channel when that happened. That was embarrassing. I felt embarrassed to be from New York City. Y'all celebrating a playoff win, not even a series win, a playoff. I feel like I just tasted something bad every time I talk about it. It's so embarrassing. It was disgusting. You see that video? It's going to be the antithesis of that if they blow this 3-1 lead.
We move into some wrestling. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in tomorrow on this show. I'm either going to be a little happy, because I don't get too happy, a little happy, or completely miserable. Because if we lose tonight, I got no hope in Game 7. God does not want to see me be happy and see my team have a victory in Game 7. That's what I've determined. God has it out for me. He's like, nope. You saw your team win a Stanley Cup in Game 7. And in 2001, that's the only memorable Game 7 highlight you're going to have your entire life, is when you were 12 years old. After that, it's going to be misery every time your team goes to a Game 7 from here on out. Good luck, buddy. Thanks, God.
God got you like that. I just received a message from the anonymous ITW general manager where they said, I like that you've crossed the threshold where everything McAfee does pisses you off. I have one thing that Pat McAfee did that did not piss me off this week.
Okay.
I want to say thank you, Pat McAfee, for shouting out one of my dear friends in the wrestling business, someone that I got to interview this year, Ninja Mac. He showed the clip of Ninja Mac's flipping extravaganza against Robbie X in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of Super Juniors, and he did a great job of like putting it over and how amazing it was, the athleticism, the agility that it takes, and he did very well. And Ninja Mac was very happy to see it. I retweeted his post where he was just like so kind of filled with pride that he was brought up on an ESPN show in that way, and that was a very nice gesture. He also is a freaking WWE shill and grifter who's like, oh, imagine that at WrestleMania. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. I'm Pat McAfee.
Pops me so much. It's so good. Before we get into AEW Dynamite, it was a good show, so we can't talk about it too much because we can't monetize praising AEW. I do want to talk to you about that, but before we get into that, I didn't know that was gonna pop you so much.
That popped me a
lot. It was reported on May 2nd by Mike Johnson, a PW insider, that excessive blood and bleeding will not be permissible anymore by TNA Wrestling. The report noted, in case of hardway blood or something like a bloody nose or mouth, blood will be allowed, and it was noted that it's understandable that sometimes blood will be a result of contact in the ring, but purposeful, heavy bloodletting is a thing of the past in the promotion. Fightful Select added, we're told the company felt like it was overboard as of late and said they wanted it to mean more whenever it was that they decided to do it again. This was coming off the heels of the Barbed Wire Massacre match between Mance Warner and Sami Callihan and the dog collar match between Steve Maclin and Eric Young. TNA president Carlos Silva talked to John Alba of Sports Illustrated's the Takedown and kind of clarified things. So there's been no ban on blood, but the locker room was encouraged to utilize brutality and intentional bleeding more sparingly, coming off of 2 extreme instances in a short period of time. And that if creative or the talent feel intentional blood or heavy violence is earned for their story or the stakes of the match, it is absolutely something TNA is open to exploring. I think the big thing kind of coming out of this, which was mentioned by PW Insider, also mentioned by Fightful Select, also John Alba, who noted that TNA has been shopping Impact's broadcast rights around. Silva acknowledged that TNA is being cognizant of potential advertisers and partners alongside confirming the Takedown's note on shopping for a new media rights deal. So that's where we stand on the blood in TNA. It is not outright banned, but you should not expect certainly like back-to-back instances like we had in the couple of weeks here. And you probably shouldn't expect it too much on like TNA Impact, the show. I don't know why they did the dog collar match on Impact in the first place when you got a pay-per-view or a special coming up a week from now. Like that should have been on Under Siege anyway. And then this probably wouldn't have been as heavy of a deal, but because that aired on Impact and it was a very bloody match, it makes it, like, oh, we got to cut down on the television show to try to get this out there to different people, in the infamous words of Vince McMahon. They don't want to see that blood and gore and guts. Advertisers aren't going to like that. So what are your thoughts on the TNA blood and the clarification from President Carlos Silva?
I like that it's like not a clean freaking verdict of basically, oh, no more blood or no more blood for a while, that they just want to use it more sparingly, because it was strange that they did it so back to back, just within a couple of weeks of each other, the Barbed Wire Massacre and the dog collar matchup. And I totally agree with you. Like, if you were going to do that dog collar matchup and you wanted to do it in that style with that type of matchup, that definitely should have been saved for Under Siege, because I'm someone that watches TNA regularly and I have no interest in this Under Siege event. Like, this Siege event, it's an episode of Impact. It's an episode of Impact, basically disguised as a special event. That's all it is. Like, it has matches. It has 2 tag team matches, really, and Victoria Crawford, Alicia Fox versus Masha Slamovich, and two tag team matches. Those are the top matches for the event. Like, that sounds like an episode of Impact. That doesn't sound like a special event that is worth going out of your way to see. It sounds like the go-home show to Battleground, because the main event is Joe Hendry and Elijah versus Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian.
It's this Under Siege card isn't good. Like, if you put Maclin and Eric Young in a dog collar match on this card, it's like, okay, now we got something with some stakes. We got a stipulation. We know what Maclin's like in this setting. This has been a good feud that has been heated up since Unbreakable, even before Unbreakable, since basically the Josh Alexander stuff. So this has been a long-standing kind of feud. The card as it stands is just, I got no interest in it. I know Macklin's going to face the winner of the 4-way tonight. Like, all right, sure. But this feels like a show that it was on their calendar, and so they got to do it. And I hate when shows feel like that. I hate when shows feel like that. You know it's there. Build to it. Or just don't do the show. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to it. I got no real interest in it. I'm glad that with the blood, it shouldn't be used so heavily on Impact, I can agree with that. But again, this goes back to our point of just do this match on the pay-per-view, and then you're probably not running into this issue as much. It feels like talent in some ways is getting a little punished for a booking decision that they did not control. Because if this match is just on the pay-per-view, are we getting this like kind of ban here? Maybe we do. Maybe we still get like, hey, cut it down.
I think it feels a lot different if it's after the barbed wire massacre. Then you could just be like, okay, that matchup where, let's be honest, Unbreakable was kind of a nothing special event too. It's really only going to be remembered for Macklin becoming the first ever TNA International Champion and the Barbed Wire Massacre. Those are the two things to remember, because otherwise it was basically a New Japan Road 2 show. But it was one of the bigger New Japan Road 2 shows when they do put big matches on it with the Barbed Wire Massacre and the first ever international champion coming on. And those were the best two matches on that show. All the performers performed above and beyond what they needed to on that special event. But like, for the most part, it feels like this year, the special events don't feel special at all. Like, I think that Sacrifice felt semi-special because you had that kind of a Lethal Lockdown return, and Leon Slater with the great Swanton 450 off the top of the steel chair of the steel cage, and the Nemeths turning on the Hardys. That was cool. They had Jeff Hardy versus Moose in the ladder match. They had the first Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana. That felt like a special event. But Unbreakable being in the middle of WrestleMania week with the pay-per-view the following week did not feel as special. And then this one, now we're at the bottom already. I thought it would be a gradual decline. We go from special, not so special. This isn't special at all. This is an episode of TV that you're masquerading as a special event. So, like, we have hit the bottom way too fast. This would have been much better if you put that dog collar matchup on that pay-per-view, and then maybe it would look a little better if you just be like, okay, we're going to sparingly do it, and then right after you say we're going to sparingly do it after the Barbed Wire Massacre, you have this matchup and be like, hey guys, it's not going away completely. You see, we did this matchup. Now we're going to wait a little while longer before we ever do blood again. I think that it would look a lot better to the outside world as far as like perception if they did it in that way instead of right after back-to-back bloodbaths the way they did it. It just felt like, like you said, it felt like they're punishing the talent and their ability to tell stories using blood, because the booking basically made these matches very close within like 2 weeks of each other, basically.
And then the TV deal. Oh, we want to make it better for potential advertisers and a potential television deal. And I hope TNA gets a better television deal. I really do. I think the talent deserves it more than anything. We've been hearing about this potential television deal for years now. And I don't know how much more they got to change or cut down on or bring up to make things better for advertisers. Like, oh, we're not doing blood. Maybe that'll get it. Oh, maybe we need to go the opposite direction and do more blood, because then it shows we appeal more to teens and adults as opposed to kids. Oh, we can't kill people like we usually do. All right, everybody lives now. You don't like people getting roofied? All right, we'll cut that part out then. Like, oh, you just want like straightforward, we need comedy? Okay, well, it's like, I don't know if there's a television deal really out there. Like, how long have we heard about this when it comes to TNA? They've been on Access / basically not Spike TV. They've been on not, because Spike TV was a great deal.
For a decade now. It's been
longer
a decade.
than that, right?
No, I think it was like 2014 is when they went off of Spike. 2014. The earliest it had it wasn't 2013.
Yeah, earliest it had 2014. You're right.
Yeah, it was 2014. So it's been over a decade.
Yeah,
they were on Destination America. They were on Pop.
Yeah.
This has been their most stable kind of length of time since Spike TV that they've been on one station, and it's not even available everywhere. But like, I don't know if there's been any reports of like any of these like cable companies or network companies that are looking to acquire a wrestling promotion. And you also are in a market where there are multiple wrestling promotions that are kind of looking for the big deal to sign right now, because Tony Khan's been talking about Ring of Honor getting a TV deal for 2 years. MLW's talked about getting a TV deal, and NWA went from their YouTube channel to on Twitter for a while. They're looking for a TV deal. Like, you're in a market that is oversaturated. Yeah, they're on CW the app, not even CW the network.
Not even that anymore. But remember, Billy Corgan was like, "We're going to be on the top 20 network," whatever he said. It's like, okay, are you? But you're right. Like, they've had time to get a deal. Nothing's materialized. They had time from the end of 2014 after the Spike deal ended until the start of AEW, which was 2019. They had those years where they had they were the number 2 promotion. They had no competition, and they couldn't land a significant TV deal. Now you've got AEW airing. You've got 4 hours of AEW program airing. You mentioned it. ROH is looking for a deal. MLW is looking for, all these companies are looking for a deal. If I'm a network, why am I not going to go to WWE and say, that Evolve show, it's on Tubi, you just want to put that here? Like, at least you're WWE. We know what we're getting out of you, instead of TNA, which doesn't have a ton of brand recognition outside of the wrestling sphere. Like, look, WWE Evolve is WWE Evolve. It's the 4th brand, but it still has the WWE initials.
And we got to bring up the whole what CW said this week, because CW's like, oh, we eating good out here. We signed a $25 million a year deal with this channel, with this show that's 52 weeks out of the year, giving us our top viewing for a channel, and we got a discount. This is one of the worst TV deals that WWE's ever signed. Like I said this when it originally happened. I was like, yeah, it's going to sound like big money to me because I'm not making that kind of money. But when you compare it to the SmackDown deal on USA Network, if you compare it to 2019, when they signed the Fox deal, when they signed the deal with USA Network, you could go back to 2013, 2014, when they signed the original deals with USA, like all the way back a decade ago. This is embarrassing how bad CW fleeced WWE for NXT. And NXT is it's like the 3rd most viewed wrestling show weekly. It's above Dynamite since it's been on CW, because it's actually on a network television. And I think that a lot of people underestimate the fact that network television is a different beast than cable. People don't need a cable box, don't need to pay anything to find CW. They can have CW anywhere. Yes, maybe TNT and TBS is available in more homes, but I think there is a difference of being on network television than being on cable. And I think that's a factor of why NXT has been beating Dynamite weekly on the TV ratings. We don't know what's going on streaming, but on TV alone, the reason is they're on network television right now. It's the 3rd most viewed weekly wrestling show in the world, and they got fleeced for it, basically. So you're telling me that TNA, the now basically the best sell that they can give to a cable network is we're the 5th WWE show. We got a WWE partnership too. We're connected to them. You want to see some guys from the 3rd most viewed wrestling weekly show? Hey, you can watch us, TNA. That's why you could do it. They probably gonna get fleeced too.
I know when this deal came together, WWE and TNA, the partnership, I jokingly said, like, oh, they're going to help them get a better TV deal and put them on Wednesdays and be like, let's undercut AEW here. And people took that however they were going to take that. But I'm not fully ruling that out. One, I'm also, this is why it was a joke, because if the choice is there of, hey, do you want TNA or do you want WWE Evolve? WWE's not pushing TNA. WWE's not going to say like, yeah, TNA, you go get that deal for you guys. That'll be great for you. Our partnership's still going to be strong. No, WWE's going to come to the table and be like, hold on, you want that show? Hey, that's a good partnership and everything. Like, we like TNA. They're cool. They're cool. You know, we got a brand. We got a fourth brand that you can put on your network for less money. And you'll get some WWE guys as well. Lexis King is showing up on this show.
Nikita Lyons.
Yeah, we'll bring Trick down for a couple of shots. That's all we give to TNA anyway. We can easily bring him here for an Evolve spot. Sure. WWE's looking out for WWE. If they can get a better deal for Evolve, they're going to get a better deal for Evolve than they are trying to help TNA with anything. So, and with let's cut down on blood to get a better network deal or to get a better television deal. It's like, man, I've been dangling this television deal carrot for over a decade now, and nothing's really come to fruition. You can keep putting it out there. Again, I hope for the talent's sake it happens. But the fact that we're still in this position a decade later, and the only thing people can say about TNA is like, if we just get that television deal, look out. We're going to be a staple third brand. We might be able to challenge AEW as the second brand. It's like, nah. I mean, yes, sure. If you get this television deal, you might be able to. If LeBron James wasn't in the East, Paul George might have had a championship. Guess what? LeBron James was in the East. Paul George ain't won shit. Sorry. Did you see that comment by Paul George?
Oh man, Paul George. I saw it was Paul George and I didn't watch. But no. Like, people need to realize, like, yes, TNA is the third biggest promotion in the US when it comes to professional wrestling. But we have to realize where people are at. Like, this is WWE up here. Then there's a big ass gap. Then there's AEW right here as the number 2 promotion. Then there's another big ass gap, and then there's TNA. Yeah, like, there may be even a bigger gap between TNA and AEW. Like, the people that's like, oh, TNA just needs a TV deal, and they need a couple of top stars before they can challenge for the number 2 spot. I'm like, relax. Let's relax. Why can't TNA just be happy being the third biggest promotion in pro wrestling? There was years that we didn't even think they'd be that at this point. There's a lot more people that thought that TNA would be done after the last decade that they had, but they have stayed alive. They have stayed consistent. They have been here. They're the cockroach of pro wrestling. They've been through everything, through the fire, through the Holocaust. They've survived it all. They've walked through fire and brimstone to still be here. And last year was one of their hottest years in quite some time, where they were selling out shows. They had great ticket sales. Now they got the partnership with WWE. They have a top star in Joe Hendry. They got top talent like the Hardys, like Nick Nemeth. They're doing well. Why can't you just be happy with them doing well and them being a certified number 3 promotion in pro wrestling? Why is that not good enough?
Lilian Garcia has announced that she will be the ring announcer for WWE Saturday night's main event. So Lilian Garcia will return to do ring announcing for Saturday night's main event. There you go. Good for Lilian. She was fine in her return. Now doing a one-off appearance. I assume it's a one-off appearance. Then it'd be good. It'll add something different to the show. Make it feel like it's not just a live event special on a Saturday night.
I mean, they added a big match. So they added a big match with that
tag team match. Yeah.
So we can kind of go through this show and be like, hey, it was a special event. You had that big tag team matchup, and you can ignore the fact that Logan Paul and R-Truth are challenging for the 2 top titles.
Oh man, we'll get to that R-Truth stuff when it happens. By the way, I didn't mention this yesterday because I was waiting for you to be on the show. You know how NXT ended SP3?
With them not getting their time cues right? Yeah.
Glance up at the title.
As soon as I saw that, I thought of you. I thought of you. It popped me so much. I want to give credit to Jeremy for that. And I watched the short from Monday show, and I've been using your analogy because it's so good. Yes.
Oh, I was like, what?
John Cena R-Truth is the equivalent of 1996 Hollywood Hulk Hogan feuding with Disco Inferno. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. I was like, Jeremy knows ball. Jeremy knows ball.
It's a terrible feud. It's I don't get people who are defending it. Like, oh, it's just a comedy feud. Oh, we love R-Truth. Like, great, you can love R-Truth and recognize that he should not be feuding for the main championship in John Cena's last run. Like, what are we doing here? I was like, what short did I do on Monday? My brain can't remember that stuff. But yes, I did that. Oh my God, that glance at the title though. It's like 2 straight shows. Can you not do something different? That's how SmackDown's gonna end.
Yep. They just look at each other's homework, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They just look at each other's homework. Like, just switch it up a little bit. Like, have the title on the opposite end instead of between. Oh, okay, I got you. I'll do that.
Hate it. Hate that stupid title glance nonsense. AEW Dynamite last night. So before we get into this show, I do want to talk about. It was brought up on Tuesday how Wrestle Talk is not going to cover AEW anymore, at least with like a Dynamite review or a Collision review or anything like that. And like that's their decision. I don't know how Wrestle Talk works. I like a lot of people over there. So Sat Yang, he commented on it, just like, look, the views aren't good. We know SP3 ain't a lot of money in this game, period. But if the content that you're producing really ain't bringing stuff in, like sometimes you gotta cut stuff. It happens. Again, I like a lot of the people at Wrestle Talk. I know sort of how the operation where like they're a bigger outlet. They got like studio and everything. Like they're a well-run outlet. AEW stuff, I guess, just doesn't produce a whole lot for them. And I put out on Twitter, it's like the joke, and it wasn't really a joke. It was always the truth. You can monetize like takes on negative takes on AEW. That's why you saw so many thumbnails of like Tony Khan can't control his roster, like the Death Riders are killing the promotion and all of this stuff. Like that's why you saw all of those outrage thumbnails. You can monetize that stuff when it comes to AEW.
Yeah.
You can't monetize AEW being good. And right now AEW is good. The shows have been good. The shows have been good. There's no backstage drama. You don't hear about people getting into fights or anything like that. So you can't fully monetize that a whole lot. People want the most online fans are WWE fans. And I'm not saying that as a negative or anything. I'm saying that as they have the largest fan base. So obviously they are the most online fan base, right? When you have a large fan base, a portion of that is going to be online. The most online fans are WWE fans, and they just want to hear the bad stuff about AEW. They want to hear good stuff about WWE and bad stuff about AEW. And so when AEW is good, those WWE fans are not going to hate watch those streams of like, yeah, tell me why AEW is terrible. They don't want to listen to people talk about, hey, AEW was good this week. They're like, no, I don't want to listen to that. Instead, I'm going to listen to somebody talk good about WWE, or I'm going to listen to somebody talk bad about WWE, and then I'm going to be in the comments section and argue with them.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And when AEW is good, AEW fans like enjoy listening to some of that stuff, but they're also they're kind of working the same way too. Like, let me listen to bad stuff about WWE and say why it's so terrible. Let me tell you why AEW is so great. And there just ain't a lot of monetization in AEW being good. Look, this is why. What's Eric Bischoff doing nowadays? He's got his reality freestyle wrestling. Sorry, Real American free, whatever they're calling it. Not reality. Apologies. Like, he's doing that because AEW is good. It surpassed Nitro. He can no longer say they're going to die. They're going to die. They're not getting a TV deal. Nitro's always better. It's like, oh, fuck. They surpassed us. They're doing well. They're selling out venues. Yeah, they might be running smaller venues, but they're still selling them out right now. And they're hot right now. Can't monetize that. Can't do anything because I don't know how much Bischoff did or didn't watch those shows, but his takes was never the show of like why this is good, why this is bad. It was just a more broader generalization of AEW. And you're seeing that with a lot of people right now, a lot of podcasts right now. Like you don't see that many AEW bad thumbnails because it's not bad. And if they can't talk bad about AEW, they just ain't going to talk. They just ain't. So I don't know. Do you have thoughts on Wrestle Talk and their decision and then the monetization of AEW?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we kind of I've seen because, you know, I do work on the website and I am close to a lot of the people at Wrestle Talk, whether it be Luke Owen, who I really give like a bunch of credit for because he was like the first person that kind of saw potential in me in doing like podcasts and doing like on-screen YouTube stuff back in like 2020. He saw some True Hill Heat and he was like, he invited me on the Wrestle Talk podcast and that really got my kind of career doing this way forward. So I always have love for Luke. Ollie's always been nice to me, always have a laugh with him whenever I'm able to see him in the office or around seeing shows. Love all the guys over at Wrestle Talk, but it is something that we've seen for a while, of course, because I'm one of my good friends in wrestling media and outside of wrestling media is Sat, and Sat had been doing the Dynamite review for a while, and there was reasons why I felt and he felt that it wasn't doing the same numbers that go beyond what, you know, what I could say and what I can't say on here or on social media and what he can say or not say on social media. But it comes down to a simple fact that Wrestle Talk is a business. They have higher ups that they have to kind of go to and they have to deal with stuff. If something's not doing well, they have to make adjustments and they have to work stuff out and they find a medium to find with anything. Like they're doing a Thursday podcast now that is going to cover the big stuff on AEW Dynamite now because they heard that feedback that they got. I just didn't like how it, like a couple of days after it all happened and it was all explained in full on their videos on social media, it just became this whole big thing of, oh, MJF said, pointed out them critiquing and spreading false information on their website. That's why, because they got in trouble with AEW. That's why they're not doing AEW Dynamite reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen that clip, how do you not realize that that clip was an edited video? If he was really critiquing them and being serious, don't you think they would have edited that out? Don't you think that freaking Luke Owen wouldn't be looking into the camera like an episode of The Office and like holding back his laughter? Like it was so ridiculous. It was like, what are we even talking about? I commented on that, and I got people commenting under my comment telling me, "Oh man, it's widely known that AEW fans don't watch Wrestle Talk content because they're very negative about it." I was like, wait, first of all, how do you know what all AEW fans feel? And I think that you're not speaking for all AEW fans because they had a 1.2 thousand comments under their Thursday video last week. That was all a bunch of AEW fans being like, we wish that you would have kept the AEW Dynamite podcast. We love Set and Tempest talking about AEW. Where's the AEW podcast? They would not have that if AEW fans are not watching Wrestle Talk. So I don't like the fact that some people want to talk for everyone because that's how they feel, or the pocket of people, the bubble of people that they talk to feel like they can't watch Wrestle Talk because they were negative about AEW at a time that AEW wasn't putting up the quality that they're putting up right now. It's very like, you're gonna hear me, you're gonna hear Jeremy, you'll hear Sean, you'll hear Alex. When AEW does not give us something that is up to par with what they do, these are all honest people. That's why Fightful is one of if not the number one source when it comes to YouTube content, when it comes to reporting. That's why they're number one, because they're very objective. You're gonna hear when AEW is doing something bad, they're gonna say it's bad. If AEW is doing something something good, we're going to say it is good. We're going to say it either way, and they're going to continue to produce that content. But Wrestle Talk has a different kind of business model, what they're going for. So that's why they just, and I said the simple fact in my comment too. That's why I was very shocked by the people that were like, oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about. That you don't lie about it. I was like, all I said is a simple fact. WWE content gets more viewership than AEW content. That's not an opinion. That's just a fact. It just has a wider fan base. It just has a bigger fan base to pull from. And like you said, you explained it perfectly. WWE fans are more online. They're more tapped in online. If someone's talking negative about WWE, you will see a WWE fan. I looked at the comments after Joel said it yesterday for my rant on Pat McAfee, and there's someone being like, "Oh, you only get this type of stuff from internet fans," even though he's an internet fan too because he's typing on YouTube. He said, "You only hear this from internet fans like SP3. If you don't like it, don't watch it." And I never understood how that is the response to someone making an honest-to-God critique about anything. Don't watch it. First of all, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a writer. I'm in wrestling media. YouTube. This is my job to watch it. I'm paid to watch it. I can't control how I feel about it, but I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm not getting cheese and crackers from any of these promotions. So I could just be real and I could tell the truth. And plus, I also have my own channel where I'm able to do the content that I want to do. And I want to talk about all of wrestling. The whole reason I became a content creator is because I thought that the whole kind of landscape of wrestling YouTube in 2017 when I first started was all WWE content. And I wanted to talk about New Japan. I thought that New Japan was the #2 promotion at that time. And I wanted to have a YouTube channel and talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and talk about Ring of Honor. We used to talk about on True Heel Heat Being the Elite, because Being the Elite at one point was the best weekly show, not WWE or anything they were producing. And then we got AEW and we were able to talk about that as well. There is a wide range of wrestling. I discovered Stardom and Mexican promotions like CMLL, and I was able to talk about it. If you want to hear the content that you don't think that is out there, or you're mad that Wrestle Talk, I understand frustration. One thing I don't understand is like that whole switching the narrative to MJF critiquing, and two, using a platform, not doing something to try to boost your own stuff. You don't need to do that. If you just work hard, if you're doing great content, you're doing great work, people will come. You don't need to be like, hey, Wrestle Talk's not doing AEW Dynamite review, but I do an AEW Dynamite review, so screw them, watch my stuff. No, you don't need to do that. That's nasty. That's ew. That's weak. That's a weak mindset. That's a weak move. Like, just do great content. Like, I said that whole post, and it just led to more people bigging up True Heel Heat, because I don't need to do that. I don't need to be the one to be like, hey, they're not doing it, so watch my stuff, because there's people that appreciate what you're doing. If you're working hard, you're being consistent, and you're doing great work, people will watch. So there's just, I love the fact that this has become a wider conversation, because then we can have like a different discourse and you can have a different opinion from what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. But like, we need to understand that a fact is a fact. WWE content is always going to be more views than AEW content. Are there YouTube channels that are consistently doing AEW content and doing good numbers? 1000% they are. But you can also ask those content creators, are you getting the same viewership that you were getting in 2021 for AEW content? And 9 times out of 10, they will say no, because AEW content in 2021 was a lot hotter and had a wider fan base than it does right now. And it's just that simple.
As far as people asking who's this conversation for, we have a lot of content creators who watch this, but believe it or not, and maybe we're helping in some way.
Yeah.
I don't look, if people want to plug their stuff underneath the rest of that, like, I don't fully mind that. Get your stuff out there. Like, I don't
promote yourself, but don't be like, I've seen a bunch of people being like, oh, F Wrestle Talk, watch my stuff. And I'm just like, that's not a good look. Like, that's not, we're a community here as content creators. So you shouldn't be trying to be like, oh, well, F them, they're not doing it, so watch my stuff. If you're saying, hey guys, they're not doing it. It's totally fine. They have a different business model. Watch my stuff. I'm doing stuff. If you want AEW content, you want to hear about it, watch my stuff. That's totally fine. Like when we had the super chat the other day to asking about it, Louis was in the chat and was like, Ramble clears. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. Because with me personally, I do an AEW Dynamite review with someone that I know 9 times out of 10 is not going to like the same stuff that I do. It's a whole basically best of both worlds style of doing wrestling content with AE Ramble. And that's why I think that is different from a lot of the stuff that you will hear for other AEW Dynamite reviews. But I love what Sean and Alex do on their post show. I love when Going In Raw does their stuff on AEW content, and I love when Ollie and Luke on Wrestle Talk about AEW, and they have a podcast that went up today talking about Beach Break. Everyone is doing great work. We're a community. You can like other stuff, you can big it up, don't tear it down to big yourself up. That's what my point was.
Got a couple super chats here from Cyclops is better than Wolverine. It was reversed in 2019 to, I think he clarified, to 2021. I hate it all. I mean, WWE was not good during those years. It sucked during those years. Awful programming during those years. He also says, same people saying they hate Wrestle Talk AEW coverage, don't watch, are clutching pearls about this, and it's the most weird. Yeah, no problem with Wrestle Talk. Like a lot of the people there. I'm talking specifically about monetizing AEW. That's where I'm getting at with this. Whatever content creators want to do with their content, if they want to find stuff that they don't like in AEW, even though I think the shows are good, fine. That's their prerogative on that. But you've definitely just noticed a lot less thumbnails of AEW bad, and because it's tough to monetize. It's tough to monetize AEW good, just is. That's why this show's not going to make anything, because AEW was a good show last night. Smooth transition there.
Love it.
Let me get the part I hated out of the way. Why the fuck are these idiots standing in the cage, going towards Swerve as he is on top of the cage, knowing he's going to jump down, move to the side, move backwards, and force him to just jump into nothing? Instead, they stand below him. It's like, look, guys, look, Swerve's up there. What's he gonna do? Oh, fuck. What? Just move. Why are we crowding around so we can jump on you? Hated it. Absolutely hated this. Like, all you guys are idiots. You're all stupid for doing this. I don't like when anybody does this, by the way. I don't like that when anybody just like, let's stand around. We got to catch his dive. I hate that shit. Just move, you dorks. Otherwise, I enjoyed this. This closing segment.
You're not wrong. I would have moved out the way when Swerve would have ended up like Adam Copeland at Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I would have moved. He would have broken his leg. And if I'm Gabe Kidd, I'm like, you fucking dork. AEW, we're the best wrestle. We're the best, end up in the hospital for being idiots. That's what I would have done. Dummies.
Oh man, but yeah, no, the cage match was a lot better than I thought it would be. Honestly, I thought that Joe and Moxley worked well together. They had more of like an old school kind of bloody, kind of gritty cage match. Some of it was a little bit slow in parts, but I thought like the closing stretch they did really well. The blood added a bunch to the matchup of making it feel like a real battle and a gritty war. And then I love the post match, the ending, the basically the closing stretch, and what was the kind of the outcome of it. I did not expect Gabe Kidd getting involved in this matchup. That was a swerve. That took me in a whole different direction, and I was like, hey, I'm happy because I'm a huge Gabe Kidd fan. I got to chat with him last year, and I'm very happy to see him on AEW television more. They're gonna have to explain that. because that doesn't really make the whole bunch of sense unless like the War Dogs is now working with the Death Riders. What it is all about. They're gonna have to explain that a little bit, but it was a big swerve. I did not expect that. So anytime I can get something I didn't expect, I am happy about that.
There is with Gabe Kidd. I wonder how much Eddie Kingston is connected to this, because Eddie Kingston was the one, or Gabe Kidd was the one who technically put Eddie Kingston on the shelf. And then after that match, the Bucks gave Kingston the EVP trigger because Kingston was supposed to be in Anarchy in the Arena or Blood and Guts last year, one of the two. And that's when he got hurt. So I wonder how much there's a connection there. It is questionable we just saw at Resurgence, the Young Bucks facing the War Dogs. So are they now on the same side with everything? And we saw the following night at MLP, Good Brothers facing the War Dogs. And it seemed like that was a continuation of everything with Resurgence. So if the Young Bucks are on the side of Gabe Kidd, how do you intertwine that? I can buy Gabe Kidd as Death Rider. He fits. I can buy that, but they do have to define that a little bit more. And I do think Eddie Kingston will be a little bit of a bridge. I'm not saying it's going to make total sense, but I do think there will be a little bit of a bridge there. I never like interference in cage matches. I said yesterday, I'm like, oh, they're going to do some type of interference. They just have to, because the Death Riders have to do interference stuff. And then the moment everybody showed up at ringside, I'm like, yep, who's it going to be? It being Gabe Kidd was a cool moment. Like, I was like, definitely didn't expect that. Is Jack Perry in the cuck chair?
I don't like. I saw.
I thought it was him.
First, I saw y'all whole exchange last night in our group chat. Pull back the curtain, and I saw y'all mention him. And then I looked at the description for today's show. Where is Jack Perry? And I was like,
am the one person
care about Jack Perry.
Yes.
Why do y'all care about Jack Perry?
I'm the one person who is looking out for Jack Perry because nobody else seems to care what Jack Perry is doing. I care where Jack Perry is. Where is the scapegoat, everyone? That's what I want to know. When no one else is out here thinking about old scapegoat, I am. If there are no more Jack Perry fans left on Earth, I am no longer on Earth. Jack Perry, rise up. Jack-offs, rise up. And start jacking.
Jack-offs, that's awesome. Fleshlights and jack-offs. That's all you AEW fans are. Fleshlights and jack-offs. Okay. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
I thought it was him at first. Like, because he had the hood up and everything.
Think that was
Listen.
He don't got no muscles.
Listen. He had the hoodie and everything. And it, like, the first shot of him was a quick close-up, Like, it wasn't very defined, the first shot. It was just, like, you could barely see his face. And I'm not going to say I was paying, like, it was a quick shot. Like, oh, is that, like, who is that? Is that Jack Perry? Like, Jack Perry would make sense. And then, obviously, once he took his hood off, like, oh, it's Gabe Kidd. Like, all right, clearly.
No, this is you. This is you trying to manifest. That's how you do it.
Yes!
You're like, is that Jack Perry? It don't matter. It could have been a little person. It could have been Hornswoggle. But
it's Jack Perry fucking.
Did Jack Perry shrink? Could have been Big Show. You'd be like, did Jack Perry grow?
It's the little jack off Jack Perry.
It's the big jack off. This manifesting. Oh my God. Oh my God! I did not think about Jack
when
Perry
Jack Perry
at all.
When Jack Perry returns, we're gonna scapegoat, ejaculate all over the place.
I did not think about Jack Perry at all.
The wife is yelling. The wife is concerned. Why are you more concerned about Jack Perry? Why am I the only one who cares?
I did not think about Jack Perry at all until you commented Jack Perry getting cooked. I was like, where did that come from?
We all like to be choked a little bit, SP3. We need Jack Perry.
Why do you care about Jack Perry so much?
Why don't you care about Jack Perry?
Because they booked him like crap the last time he was on TV. I stopped caring. I was into Jack Perry. I was on for the ride with Jack Perry when he came back to AEW. I was on for the ride once he made his entrance at Windy City Riot last year. And you know what happened? He didn't win the TNT championship, how he should have won the TNT championship by the Young Bucks just handing him the title after Adam Copeland died in the steel cage. They should have just handed him the title and made him the champion. No, he won a 6-way ladder match for no reason where he wasn't the star of the matchup. It was Takeshita and ELP, and then he won that matchup. And then they just booked him like every TNT champion ever. He's doing open challenges. And the only interesting one was when Marco Stunt came back to the company and faced him. That was it. And then he did a rivalry with Daniel Garcia that was absolute garbage. It was basuta. It was awful. It had a kidnapping scene where the heel is kidnapped with 2 baby faces holding him hostage, and he's laughing in his face. He's like, I bet this out of you. The awful acting. And he's the son of an actor. He's the son of an actor. He's the son of Dylan Perry. He's the Dylan McKay from 90210. What are we talking? What are we doing? What are we doing?
SP3.
They booked him to hell. Then at Wrestle Dynasty, he had one of the worst matches in the Tokyo Dome with Yota Tsuji after Yota Tsuji stole the show at Wrestle Kingdom. He had an awful match at Wrestle Dynasty with Yota Tsuji. I don't care anymore.
SP3, give me time, and I will get you to ejaculate.
This is outrageous. this is outrageous. You're going too far. You're going too far, sir. And no, I'm not saying his dad was a great actor or anything. I heard he was really good on that Archie and show though, Riverdale. I heard he was good on that, and he was excellent. You will not hear me say a word of slander about Luke Perry as Dylan McKay on 90210. I am still mentally scarred by the love triangle with Kelly and Brenda. You will not see me do that. You don't know 90s soap operas and teen dramas if you were saying that Dylan McKay is not one of the greatest actors in modern teen drama history. Stop it. Let's stop all of that. But Jack Perry, I did not think about him at all until you thought about him and had to bring him up.
I just want justice for Jack. That's all I want.
Justice for Jack.
Justice for Jack. The jack-offs need justice.
He don't even need to be in the elite.
We just want to ejaculate.
We need Ricochet in the elite. Ricochet is replacing Jack Perry in the elite.
No.
I'm still on the agenda.
No. Absolutely not.
No, Melrose Place was not the superior show, but if you want to say OC and One Tree Hill was better than 90210, I'm with you there.
I preferred Melrose Place to 90210 as well.
Melrose Place was not. They didn't have memorable characters like that. It was probably a better show, maybe if I watch it with adult eyes, but it didn't have memorable characters like 90210.
That's very fair. My mom was always watching more Melrose Place than 90210, so that's why I just watched it more.
My mom watched both. We watched both on what was that, Sunday nights on Fox? We watched both.
We've done this bit, Joel and I, of they need to add all of 90210 on these streaming services because they're like missing a bunch of episodes.
Yes. Yes, it's really bad. Me and my missus, when we first got together, back in 2018, 2019, we tried to watch it on Hulu, and like we got to like season 5, and we was just like, what the hell? It don't even start on episode 1. It don't even start on episode 4. It starts on like episode 10 of season 5. It's like, what the hell? You just missed like a whole portion of this damn season. What?
Yeah, I remember watching it through, and like it's fine with the first however many seasons, and then all of a sudden, some dude wants to like throw Kelly off of a cliff. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He just wanted to throw her off a cliff. When was he introduced? It just skips like 5 episodes, and we just get this new guy who's ready to throw off a cliff. Like, what is happening on this show? Baby, justice for Jack Perry. Say
justice for Night on 210.
Say let's ejaculate. say let's ejaculate. Come on.
Let's ejaculate.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yes, exactly.
He says, also, Will Washington works at AEW. He knows this, but they still refuse to acknowledge that Krusty the Clown is Jack Perry's uncle. Other super chats. Getting back to what the original topic allegedly was. Who do you have in Anarchy in the Arena? Love the women being involved. Why? So here's where I'm at on Anarchy in the Arena. Why do we got to have set competitors? It's Anarchy in the Arena. Anybody should be able to get involved. If I'm the heel group and I got the Young Bucks and Gabe Kidd and the Death Riders and Marina and who else was out there with them last night? I think that was all of them.
It was the Death Riders, the Elite, Okada came out.
Yeah, Okada, Jack Perry, his eventual return. Why wouldn't all of these people just be involved? Like, oh, you only got 5 guys? We got 10. Sorry. Either find 5 more or you're at the numbers disadvantage here. Why do we have to have set numbers for this match?
Because it's the Anarchy is the fact that we have 2 sides that are going to be fighting all over the arenas. Get it? Anarchy in the Arena. Sure. Who I think is going to be in this matchup? I think we saw most of the people that's going to be in this matchup last night. I think the heel side will be Moxley, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir, Gabe Kidd, the Young Bucks, and the babyface side will be Swerve, Kenny Omega, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, Willow Nightingale, and I think we're going to get the returns of Hook and Shibata to fill out the team. We're getting the first ever 7-on-7 Anarchy in the Arena, and the first ever time women will main event an AEW pay-per-view, which is a nice segue to one of the big news that happened during yesterday's Dynamite. Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful Select, making the announcement or the report that Willow Nightingale has re-signed with AEW after the big news was on Friday of her contract year being in place, that this was her contract year. She has officially re-signed, and what a signing bonus. First woman to main event an AEW pay-per-view event. I've been on this show for weeks and been against the idea of Anarchy in the Arena. But once Swerve alluded to women being involved in this and Willow being in the main event, I was like, all right, sign me up for it. This is a backdoor way to do it, but we're getting women in the main event. I'll take anything at this point.
Willow should pin Moxley, if we're being honest. And then she should just become the champion.
I agree.
I would assume and I would hope that Willow and Marina are part of this. I think it's a miss if they're not. I think it's a huge miss. Yeah. We've already seen the mixed tag team match. We've already seen them get involved. Like, it's a miss if they're not part of this match. So I think they will. I don't know about 7-on-7. And I don't know about Shibata being part of it, because I still think this is an Eddie Kingston return. I think we're
Eddie's back for this?
Yeah, I do.
I think Shibata should be in it mostly because of Gabe. Gabe can also use that as a reason why he's on the heel side, because they took out Shibata, who he's still bitter against because that was his trainer.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Did you mention
we could take out Hook? We could take out Hook and put in Kingston though. If Kingston's ready, I agree. Kingston, a part of Anarchy and Mina, will only make Anarchy in the Arena better, and it's 1 year since he was pulled from Anarchy in the Arena last year.
Did you mention Okada as part of the babyface side or the heel side?
I think they're going to do Okada and Speedball.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say as well. Is it feels like they're going to do that instead of Okada being part of this. But Okada would obviously make sense. Like, he took out Kenny, and Okada doesn't care for a lot of this stuff. He really don't care for these walk and brawl stuff.
He don't.
Like, let me gingerly put on this thumbtack glove that we got going on here. He doesn't want to do this shit. Bless him, but he doesn't want to do anything.
Bless him. And I think him and Speedball would have a great match together. So I wouldn't mind that with Speedball and Okada being separated from this. And you need more matches for Double or Nothing. I will give it to AEW. They made more matches. That's all I asked for last week, and they did do it on this week's show of making more matches for Double or Nothing, which is now less than 2 weeks away.
A few more super chats. Vanilla fumble is what we call when wrestlers don't let Swerve get Leon slated. Well, they shouldn't be jumping off a high post like that when there's, multiple bad guys in the ring. They should move. Why are they trying to stand there?
I do love Swerve as the anti-hero. He is the anti-hero. He's done this so many times of jumping off of high places and then doing the moment onto multiple people.
The moment he came down, like, that's what they were setting up. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna jump, he's gonna climb the cage. He got up that cage quickly, bless. Like,
he did.
It was up there real quick. So typically, you try to climb the cage, you whack him down so he can't climb it. He didn't even give him the opportunity to do that. But it was clearly setting up for him jumping. But just don't stand there. Just go to the other side of the ring. Just move. Seems very simple to me. Louis saying Anarchy in the Arena song should be Vanilla Baby. It 100% should be, but Tony Khan's a coward and he won't get the rights to it.
I'm Vanilla Baby.
Cowardly.
It's gonna be a Swerve song, and then they'll switch it up to Kenny's Final Fantasy song.
That's not a brawling song.
Do it for the laughs. I would have laughed watching this match. Do it for the laughs.
I hope it's Mina Shirakawa's song that they're never going to use again. I thought Soulja Boy. I thought she was about to crank that Soulja Boy when that song hit.
I like the song. I didn't understand.
Me too. I didn't mind it.
I was like, she's on beat with it.
Yeah.
It's a hip hop beat, and she's still on beat with it. She get the crown at the end. I was like, really? I didn't even know that there was an issue on social media. I just put out my tweet, oh, Mina's new song is a bop. And then I just left it at that. And then at the end of the matchup, I hear the old song. I was like, oh, they're doing a Mankind gimmick with Mina, where she has one song to come out and then one song when she wins. That's awesome. I'm with it. And then I see the backlash on social media, and I see Tony Khan being like, I've already switched it. All right, guys, you put a gun to my head. I switched it up.
I didn't think it was bad. I heard it and I was like, oh, okay, this is different. Like, but yeah, she was with it. Like, she had the whole routine down on it. Like, this works. Again, I thought it was Soulja Boy at first. Like, dun dun dun. I was like, oh, okay. Watch me use. Like, you about to Superman that whole Mina Shirakawa. Let's go. But then they changed it, and I used to know that whole dance, the whole Soulja Boy dance. I don't know if I can still do it.
Watch me, Superman. Yeah. I don't want to get hit by the Crank That Killer though, so let me stop.
So yeah, they changed it, and then Tony's like, I've already changed it, and he replied to one person's like, oh, Tony saw the raging online, decided to change it. He just replied, yeah.
What?
Tony, I've been begging for weeks, months to get Jack Harlow Love It On Me. Why does Tony hate Jax? Why?
No, it's
Jack Perry, Jack Harlow, Jack in the Box. Why does Tony hate all Jacks?
He hates Robin Williams and Jack. Cactus Jack. Billy Jack Haynes. Oh, it's okay to hate him. But
why? Why does Tony hate all Jacks? Why can't we get Jack Harlow? Why? That's all I want to know.
You need more people. They don't believe you. You need more people.
I mean, probably. He's on Collision again this week. They keep putting the vanilla $1 million baby on Collision.
Now you're gonna make me look at the ratings to be like, was it a bump? Was it a bump for Speedball?
I'm gonna lie and say it was, regardless. I'm gonna say it did over 1 million.
I'm gonna be in the comments on Monday, like, in fact, it did not.
Hate Applejacks, Blackjack, Jack Black, all of them. Like, they got any players? Jack Tunney? They didn't like him either.
Jack A. Ray.
Tony just hates them all. Jack Jarrett. Remember him? Georgia Tech legend? Louis would probably know.
Yeah. Oh, Jared Jack.
Sorry. I screwed it up. Yeah, Georgia Tech though, right? Jared Jack?
Yeah. Sure? As soon as you said Georgia Tech, I was like, yeah, Jared Jack.
Jared Jack. Sorry.
That's when I was watching college basketball. Jared Jack.
Yeah. Back in the day. I can't name you any college basketball nowadays.
No.
Cooper Flag. That's it. Name's not Jack. Who cares?
But yeah, I'm for the Anarchy in the Arena simply because I'm a Willow Nightingale mark. I've already said I'm on the Willow Nightingale AEW Women's World Championship agenda. It's been activated. That's what we need to do now that she's been re-signed. But first stop, main event, Double or Nothing. I'm here for it. She needs to get the win for the babyface team.
Yeah. Jacksonville. Maybe that's why he hates Jack, because he has to deal with Jacksonville all the time.
Michael Jackson, Latoya Jackson, Janet Jackson, Freddie Jackson, Tito Jackson.
Just all the Jacksons. All 5 of them, and then some. Mina Shirakawa did win a match. She is going to face Toni Storm. She beat Toni Storm in a 4-way AEW Women's Title Eliminator match. She reversed Toni Storm's big package with a bigger package, and so we will get Mina and Toni Storm at Double or Nothing. Mariah May sidely mentioned here. They kind of were like, they were in a love triangle, and they didn't mention the third point. They just said love triangle. It's like, if you know who the third person was, great. If you don't, we just aren't going to say anything.
Pretty much. It was like, we have no time for that. We'll get to it at a later date if she resigns. But I really enjoyed this 4-way. I thought it started off a little bit clunky. It was similar to the Resurgence main event, where I feel like the Stardom girls are way too fast for everyone else, so they have to and sometimes they are way too fast for even the crowd sometimes, so they have to slow down a bit, and you're able to appreciate their performance a little bit more. So once they got the flow of it right, I thought that it came off really well, and I thought it was a fun matchup here. I don't like Tony taking another pinfall, because this kind of feels like the build to Dynasty dynasty where she lost to Megan Bayne in the tag team matchup. She's once again losing to the person that's challenging her at the pay-per-view. So I feels like a little bit too samey there. I would have preferred if Mina pinned like Sky Blue, but you're not going to pin Sky Blue in Chicago. You're not going to pin Azumi after she won the NJPW Strong Women's Championship, and you are building towards a Tony and Mina rematch. And like I think it was you or somebody else said, like, these is a title eliminator. You should have to pin the champion to earn the opportunity, and she did that. So I was fine to look that over, and I liked that I got the result that I wanted last week. I wanted the 4-way to have someone else win to set up a matchup for Tony at the pay-per-view, and Mina's getting a big push initially coming back to and officially a part of the AEW roster. And I feel like she has the best chance to be a big Joshi star for AEW. They got to a certain level, but they always hit a glass ceiling with all of their Joshi stars that they've had in the past. Like Hikaru Shida, she became the ace, but that kind of became a glass ceiling for her. She can only go so far. Riho was the first ever AEW Women's World Champion, but they hit that glass ceiling a lot faster than they even did with Shida. But I feel like Mina has the charisma factor that those two ladies didn't have, that she can reach higher heights as far as popularity and becoming a main level star consistently for the next couple of years for AEW. So I'm hoping this is the start of big things for Mina.
I don't think Mina's going to win at AEW Double
No.
Double or Nothing, but I do like that they are putting her kind of front and center right now because she's super talented. And like you said, like she has the real potential to break through and become top Joshi star for them. I do wonder if she was like confused by like her theme changing. Like, wait, I won? What? Why are we playing this theme? I already had my dance prepared for my old theme. Now I got to switch it up, call it on fly here. But I thought the match was good. Sky Blue, clearly her first match in almost a year. She was doing really well before she got injured, and then she had to. You mentioned it, but she had to work Joshi speed right off the bat, and she wasn't up for working Joshi speed off the bat.
No.
Completely understandable, by the way. This is not a knock on Sky Blue. I don't want anybody to take it that way. First match back, a really terrible. I think it was her fibula that she ended up. She's like, my ankle was just like hanging from my legs. Like, yeah, that sounds like it sucks. She's got like screws on one side and then a plate and screws on the other side. It would have been tough going anyway. No matter like who she was in there with, unless it was someone like kind of slower and more methodical. Putting her in a 4-way against two Joshi talents is that wasn't the best position to maybe put her in. But I understand Chicago, you want to get her out there and get her going. She'll continue once she finds her legs again. She'll get much better with it. But we see this all the time, sadly, with people coming back. I mean, we talked about it with when Britt Baker returned. They were her in there, and like her first couple matches weren't great. And then it was, oh, you're facing Mercedes. It's like, oh, that's a tough match to kind of return to. And you've only had Britt faced Shida in her return match, right? Yeah, it's like, that's a tough first match to come back to because Shida works a certain style. And when you've been out for so long, Shida ain't the guy or the girl. She ain't the girl that you want to be going up against here. Like the Harley Cameron match for Britt was more the pace she needed to work at. But then she faced Mercedes, and the match was what it was. So not fully putting Sky Blue into the best position to showcase her talents in this match. But she got through it. It was fine. She got through it.
Yeah, she got the hometown pop as well. So happy for her to be back. Set up a big matchup for Double or Nothing with Mina and Timeless Tony. I thought that their match at Forbidden Door was underrated by a lot of people. I thought that was a great match. I thought that was one of Tony's better matches before she lost the title at All In. So Yeah, I think they're going to deliver in another quality matchup there. Post match seems like we're still building to the Mercedes versus Azumi matchup for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship, because Mercedes attacked her after losing her title at Resurgence, put her in the statement maker, and then that led to Jamie Hayter coming out and attacking her. I need a little bit more kind of effort and creativity put into the build for that Owen Hart final. I think that they have been putting more investment in the men's final and creating a bigger story there, whereas they're just doing, they brawl and they attack each other. That's all they're doing for the women. And you could do a little bit more with the character and the character stories that are there, with Mercedes trying to collect another belt, be this belt collector, now trying to replace one of her belts to once again become 4 belts Monet, versus Jamie Hayter's. Jamie Hayter has the whole redemption story. Like, redemption versus ascension can describe both of the Owen Hart finals, because it's Jamie Hayter trying to redeem herself after getting hurt when she loses the title, trying to get a matchup against a woman that beat her, that she was on this meteoric rise in AEW, was the most popular female star in the company, and then this woman is responsible for injuring her and taking her title, and now she's the biggest star, man or female, in the company, and all these people love her. She wears clothes and dresses like she's from the 1950s. I dress like I'm from the 1970s, and I'm getting heat for it because I'm doing something different, but she gets love and praise for it. Like, there's a whole story to tell with both of these ladies and why each of them want to win. We just need them to do it on television.
Yeah. People asking.
And we got another Tekla tease during the
match. That's where I was going. I don't know when she's going to get involved, because if you're doing Double or Nothing, the winner of Mercedes and Jamie is the next challenger. I don't think you're going to see Tony or Tekla challenging Tony immediately after that, because Tekla's not winning that title between now and Double or Nothing, or now and All In, sorry. So I wouldn't just have her come in, challenge for the title, and then, what are we doing after that? They've done that in the past way too often, of, hey, new person comes in, challenges for the title, they lose. What do we have for them next? Well, we're not sure yet. I'd rather them have something like, maybe she gets involved with Hayter instead. Like, maybe Hayter loses, and it doesn't have to be at Double or Nothing, mind you. It can be at the Dynamite after, is when Tekla come. Like, maybe Jamie's cutting a promo talking about the loss, talking about wanting to still get there, and then we get the arrival of Tekla. That's just one thought. I would not expect. Go ahead.
She can go after Mina, because her whole thing in Stardom was she was the Joshi killer. So she can do like a rivalry with Mina to start off, where you're putting like your 2 new signings against each other and trying to see if they can elevate each other at the same time.
I wouldn't expect Tekla to come in and immediately go for a title. I don't think that's the right move, because we know we ain't seeing a title loss between now and All In. Mercedes ain't gonna lose the title, and Toni Storm ain't losing the title. So I would not expect to see that. They tried with Mercedes having a heavy. I don't know if that's the role.
And I don't think like Tekla can be her heavy, because Tekla's probably smaller than her.
Yeah. Yeah, Tekla doesn't give like heavy vibes. Like Camille, okay, you can see it. Megan Bain, okay, you can see it. But Tekla doesn't really give that kind of vibe. Like, that's, people were talking about like the Renegade Twins and Mercedes pitch for the Renegade Twins. It's like, oh, well, there's 2 of them. Even though they're not like heavies, there's at least the numbers advantage there, which makes a difference. So yeah. That was on the women's side for Dynamite. We'll get into MJF, and he got his thumbs up. He left the thumbs up on the video. 3 thumbs.
The boyhood dream has come true.
What the fuck is this tag division? What is this?
It sucks. They're not concerned with this tag team division at all. Poor Top Flight, man. I looked up today because I had to do a feature for Wrestle Talk. Where they gave me the feature of tag team members who need to become single stars. So I had to get information on like Top Flight because I was like, Dante Martin, he would be one that could be a single star. These dudes have been in this company for 5 years.
Yeah.
For 5 years. Not done a damn thing. Yo, this is embarrassing. This used to be the best tag team division in all of wrestling. This tag I know a lot of people want them to have a women's tag team division, but let's get the men's one right first. Like, this is the whole issue. We wanted trios division. When the tag team division was going along smoothly, we were like, oh, let's get a trios division. But that hurt the tag team division, and they have not recovered since. It's been 3 years since we had the trios division. The tag team division has not been the same since the trios division was introduced, and they have yet to try to even fix it. We've had arises a bit like FTR in 2023, but that's now 2 years ago since we had a good reign. They had a good program with Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. That was great, but like that was now over a year ago. Like, anything good about this division was over a year ago. I had high hopes for the Hurt Syndicate being this dominant tag team, being the Black Road Warriors and running through teams. But I want them to run through teams that you actually build up. Build up Top Flight. Have Top Flight beat the Crew in the Tornado Tag Team matchup if they're going to be the next opponents for them. Like, you're not even taking the steps to actually do stuff.
Crew got fucked. They got completely fucked here.
They got cucked. Not Jack Perry. The Crew got cucked.
They won the Tornado Tag Team match, and then Top Flight gets a shot. And then Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, who haven't won a match on AEW television in a decade, they come out here and they're like, we're next. Hey, you guys can't cut in line. What do you mean? You are cutting in line. Just because you're the ROH tag team champions doesn't mean you get a shot at the AEW tag team. They at least won a match on AEW television. They at least beat Top Flight, who just got a title shot for no real reason. Why are you guys getting a title shot? And then he's like, oh, we'll do a number one contenders match. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert, everybody. Close your ears. Shut your eyes. Whatever you need to do. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara win. I
didn't even need you to read the spoilers. I could have told you that was going to happen. As soon as Dustin and Sammy came into the segment with Top Flight backstage, I was like, no, they are not doing the Sons of Texas versus the Hurt Syndicate. What are we doing? The only way you can build this and make it make sense is build it through MJF, because MJF has had issues with both Dustin and Sammy. So you can do something there to tell some type of story, but there's only like one more episode of Dynamite before the pay-per-view. So what does this even matter? Does this even matter? That's not even the real story here. That was the worst part of last night's show, I will say. Yeah, the whole tag team division is just in the doldrums at this point.
Yes. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, bless them. I think there's a spot for Dustin Rhodes in this company and on the show in certain instances. It's not in any type of title picture. It's just not. We already saw him in MJF. We did that. Why are we doing this stuff? What are we doing? Knock it off.
But guys, the Sons of Texas are adding credibility to the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Yes, I got into an argument with somebody who said that. They're adding credibility. They've been Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions for 260 days plus for some reason.
Nothing, and I say this, and I apologize to you. I apologize to Kate. Happy belated birthday again.
Yes, happy belated birthday, Kate.
I don't think it is Sean in the chat. King Potato. I'm fairly positive it is Kate. Sean does not care much. He pops on the show when he wants to be on the show. He doesn't care to be on the chat.
Kate is the only person who's more frustrated with the Sons of Texas than I am.
I apologize to both of you who had to who had to cover ROH. Nothing in ROH adds credibility. Was it you in the chat?
Say his name and he appears.
I watch every second of nationally televised wrestling per week.
You and me both. See, this is the garbage I have to deal with. I have to deal with. You're not watching the best show.
And I have added WoW Women of Wrestling to that as well.
See, I won't go that far.
How you doing,
it's too
Sean?
much.
Too much, yeah, it's too much.
Sean, I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Why aren't we able to ejaculate on AEW television? And where is Jack Perry?
That was perfect. That was perfect. That's a short too. Do that as a short.
I just want an update on Jack Perry. That's it. Why can no one give me answers to where is Jack Perry?
Why are you the only person who cares?
Somebody has to care, SP3. I'm sorry for fighting for all the jackoffs out there. I'm sorry for fighting for Jack Perry, for fighting for Jack Harlow. My name's I'm gonna have to change my name to Jack. I don't get why more people are not fighting for all the jackoffs out there.
The anonymous ITW general manager just messaged me. That'll teach Sean to swing by.
Wait, what the hell am I getting myself into? We were having a perfectly fine conversation burying ROH, and he's like, let me prove it's me in the chat. And all of a sudden.
Oh, man. But yeah, right, Dustin Rhodes is a double champion. And now he has to be, now he's trying to get a third title. This is greedy. He's so greedy. I've never seen a more greedy old person. He's like the old dude in the retirement home who tries to get an extra pudding. Like he's trying to get an extra jello.
As I was saying, no one from ROH is adding credibility to AEW. I'm sorry. They're just not. And I will, and it's not that they can't. My point is, just because you have an ROH title doesn't make you more credible in AEW. That is my point. Look at every single example of an ROH champion coming to AEW. They all lose. Unless the ROH title is involved because they try to make that an AEW title more than an ROH title. They all lose. Ryan, we all love Athena. You're never going to hear me or SP3 say a bad word about Athena. What does she do when she comes to AEW? She loses. And then what happens to her? She disappears for months and is never heard from again. What happens
if we had seen Athena at least once since she lost to Mercedes, I would have immediately been like, Athena is the answer to this question. But I literally did not say anything because Athena lost and she hasn't been on TV in a month.
If you are an ROH champion, you're coming to AEW television, just because you have that ROH title doesn't make you more credible. It doesn't. That's why Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, they can have these titles. They're not more credible because of it. Okay, you guys are just going to lose as well because that's all you ROH guys do. You just lose. This tag division sucks right now. Awful.
It's really bad.
Absolutely awful.
It's really bad. I feel bad. Not really. It's their own doing. It's their own. If they're not going to care, why should I?
Yeah.
Tag team wrestling is really bad on like the top two promotions. We get some bangers like the TLC matchup from a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown and Fraxium being there every week. They deliver some good matches, but overall they just make it feel like it doesn't matter on WWE and AEW television. And even me, who loves me some New Japan Pro Wrestling, they ain't much better either. The junior tag team division is where it's at, but overall in the top in my opinion, the top 3 promotions in the world in wrestling. Tag team wrestling just feels so unimportant.
I was trying to think who the tag team champions are in New Japan, and then I was recalling history, and I'm like, with the Young Bucks won it, but then Naito and Hiromu won, but then Cobb and
Callum won it. Then they relinquished the titles, and now it's Callum. And Okan.
Okay.
And then the junior tag team champions is Yo and Master Wato.
Sure.
They just put singles guys they're not doing anything with. They put the titles on them. It's like
MJF is a member of the Hurt Syndicate. Allegedly, there's an official contract signing next week.
The boyhood dream has come true. MJF next week, he's gonna be like, "I'm a Blackheart, damn it! I'm a winner, a soul survivor." Woo!
Do you think this is like gonna be a thing? Like, is he really gonna be in the group, or is this all setting up for Cedric or potentially someone else?
I felt like we were gonna get Cedric last night, but now that we're doing the contract signing, we may get him next week, which I can understand if they didn't want to put everything into one big show. They want to spread stuff out, tell a longer story with stuff. You can have Cedric, make his AEW debut if that's going to happen next week, and interrupt the contract signing and say the name on the contract doesn't read Maxwell Jacob Freeman. It reads Cedric Alexander, and he signs on the dotted line. You could do something like that. Wouldn't mind that at all. So we shall see. It is still the best story in AEW, and that saved the whole entire Hurt Syndicate segment, because Max interacting with them is very entertaining. Him hiding behind Tony Khan in the goal position and Shelton pulling him out. The framing of Shelton gearing up to deliver the super kick as Bobby Lashley's teeter-tottering with the thumb, and then finally puts the thumb up, and then MJF's reaction to it, like and then him jumping in Bobby's arms and Bobby pushing him off and him bumping for Bobby. All of it is great. They're just interactions are very entertaining. It's entertaining television. Does any of this do anything for the AEW World Tag Team titles? No, but it's entertaining. It's the best story in AEW right now.
A couple other notes from Dynamite, and we can talk about it more in depth if you would like. There was the opening match with Hangman and Will Ospreay defeating Alexander and Takeshita. Fantastic match. Finish. Them knocking off Alexander's headgear was, I don't know if he loosened it
perfect
for that, but it was really good. Like,
it added to the impact of the buckshot blade.
Yeah. I could have lived, like, I understand you're going to do these teases. When Ospreay goes for the hidden blade and he pulls up short of Hangman, they're just sitting there like, all right, sure, whatever.
It does make it a little bit corny, I will say. You're
Hangman's buckshot, he goes for it, and whoever it was ducked, and then he keeps going, and then Ospreay has to duck.
He swung twice though. Yeah, did you notice that he swung twice?
Yeah.
He did swing for Ospreay.
Yeah. He did swing
for him. At least Will straight up,
Will pulled up
short of it. He pulled up short. They tried to play it off like he couldn't. He did a full on swing, but he didn't do one swing. He did miss again.
Yeah. He could have just missed and then collided with Ospreay, or Ospreay moved out of the way, but he swung his arm to hit him. Yeah. Maybe he thought it was Josh Alexander. He's like, these white dudes, they all look the same to me. I don't know.
Well, that's what happened post-match, is Will thought that Hangman grabbing him from behind was Josh, so he blasted him, and then they got separated with Bryce telling him, wait till Double or Nothing.
It was a really good match, though. It was fantastic.
Awesome. I thought it was excellent. All four guys worked really well together. Will and Josh, of course, have great chemistry from their TNA Impact matches. Will and Takeshita, they just do nothing but spectacular pro wrestling together. They just have unmatched. They feel like wrestling soulmates whenever they're in the ring with one another. And Hangman worked really well with Takeshita. I forgot about their great match from Takeshita's first year in AEW, but but I got reminded of it by how well they worked together in this match. And Hangman and Josh just had a great match on Dynamite, and they had another one here. So definitely the match of the night last night.
Yes, by far. Then Ricochet against Zach Gowen. I think Ricochet,
best heel in wrestling.
He's so good.
Best heel in wrestling.
So good. The figure 4.
Let me do it. Let me go the opposite way. Oh my god! It was like he is such a spectacular douchebag.
Yeah,
he's just so good at it.
He's so good with this character. Oh, it's so funny. And yeah, like early in the match when like, or not early, like when they first entered and he like pulls Gowen's leg away when Gowen's like trying to get it and everything. He's like, no, I still have possession of this. And then at the end, when Mark Briscoe makes the save, like Briscoe does a good job, and Ricochet tries to grab it before him. I'm so looking forward to Ricochet and Mark Briscoe. I've said it many times on social media and on this show. I think Mark Briscoe is a guy you should be utilizing as like a top tier baby face in the vein of a Sami Zayn, because he can get everything over and he adds a gravity to everything he does to make it work for not only himself as like getting sympathy as a baby face and getting fans rallied behind him as a baby face, but also getting heat on the heels. Sami Zayn is great at that stuff. And I think Mark Briscoe is just as good, but AEW just doesn't utilize him in that way. But putting him in this spot against Ricochet, I'm like, oh yeah, if you hate Ricochet now, like you're going to hate Ricochet even more after a feud with Mark Briscoe, because Mark Briscoe is going to get the absolute most out of him as a heel. And like Ricochet is already doing great work as a heel. So it ain't like he's going to like pull Ricochet up to make him like a top tier heel. Ricochet is already doing that on his own. But you add Mark Briscoe to this, it's going to work even more. I'm so looking forward to this feud.
Yeah, this is a good choice to go with, because it not only, you know, helps out within the context of what Ricochet's been doing in the last 2 shows with Zach Gowen, it also helps out with it makes sense of Mark Briscoe getting that win over Ricochet a couple of weeks ago, because it added credibility to Mark Briscoe, who needed wins on TV to show that he could still win and he's not just a jobber to the stars. But then you're also just giving it more credence that anybody could win. I think they should add that matchup to Double or Nothing. I think that it would be a crime that Ricochet is doing all this great work on television in the lead up to this pay-per-view and he's not on the pay-per-view. I think that would be a crime. And I think that Mark Briscoe proved, with no story at all and just going off of history with Dynasty with Kyle Fletcher, he had an awesome match there. I think he can have another awesome match with Ricochet, and Ricochet can get his win back and get even more heat on him, where I think that Ricochet is like probably my top candidate to win like the TNT championship. He has to win a singles title before the end of the year. Like, he's been doing such great work that he should be rewarded with a title in 2025 to kind of cement himself. And don't go the Jack Perry route of give him a title and then just lax on his booking. Continue letting him get as much heat as possible, being this glorious douchebag that he is. And I agree with you. Like, Mark Briscoe, he's such a beloved, likable underdog babyface that the crowd just wants to rally behind. They want him to root for. That's why he was, and I like that the commentary actually did a good job, because commentary had Ian Riccaboni. Commentary always does well when it has one of 3 people on it: Ian Riccaboni, Nigel McGuinness, or Don Callis. The commentary goes up a bit. No slides to anybody else. I like Excalibur in doses. Taz can be funny. Tony Schiavone should not be on Dynamite. He should be on Collision because he's much better on Collision. But Ian just adds a lot of like natural enthusiasm to the product, and he fills in the gaps for anyone who is like not watching week to week. He gives you a background story, and he was so good in bringing up the fact that Zach Gowen worked in Ring of Honor and he developed a friendship with both Briscoes. So that's why Mark is coming out with the save, because it would have made sense for Mark to come out for the save regardless, because he's been feuding with Ricochet over the last couple of weeks in the All all-star tag and their singles match from 3 weeks ago, but he made it add more sense because they're friends in real life, and that was awesome.
The other kind of segment and talking point out of this is setting up FTR against Nigel and Daniel Garcia for Double or Nothing. That will most likely be official soon. I know if you had any comments on the overall segment with Garcia and Nigel, and then Stokely and FTR.
Stokely is pulling up the rear. He's trying to catch up to Ricochet and being the best heel promo in this company. Him saying that, Nigel, you can't beat FTR. You could barely beat Hepatitis. I was like, oh shit. I was like, why you have to go there? And then him calling Nigel McGuinness the Al Bundy of All Elite Wrestling, talking about your past glory years. He's so good. And oh man, I've missed Stokely so much. This was just another reminder of it. Daniel Garcia can come off a little bit too forced, passionate sometimes, so that kind of takes me out of certain things. But Nigel's so good. Nigel knows like the right delivery, the right kind of emotions to emote on his face as well. So he's really good at this, and I love FTR as the heel. So I think there's going to be one of the matches that I'm looking forward to the most from Double or Nothing, and I would expect FTR to get the victory, but you never know with Nigel getting back into the ring. But this was a good segment to kind of set up another pay-per-view matchup. Like I said, one of the bigger things from Dynamite last night for me personally is that we started shaping out and actually making a card for Double or Nothing, because I think we went way too many weeks with just 2 matches for the card that's in less than 2 weeks.
I just can't believe they're putting an announcer in a high-profile pay-per-view match. Have some shame, AEW. Have some shame.
Well, this announcer came out and he apologized for trying to be the main character. He didn't say I'm Pat McAfee.
I know, could you do the Oasis song to Nigel McGuinness, his theme? I don't know if you can pull that off. You're in the UK. They love Oasis over there, right?
They do love Oasis.
I was listening to some Oasis. Today. I just listened to the hits though. Anybody expecting me to have like, oh, what's your favorite Oasis song? Champagne Supernova. That's it.
Champagne Supernova.
Yeah. That's that and Wonderwall. I'm like, all right. I was listening to Supersonic today though, so that's still a hit.
Those are good ones. Those are ones I actually know about. So
yeah. Again, just the hits. That's all I listen to with Oasis. Kaza saying money's for the best morning wrestling show. We appreciate you, Kaza. I hope you're having a good day. All right, SP3. C-suite. Time to enter the C-suite.
Time to enter the C-suite, ladies and gentlemen, which I will say, WWE may be closing up the C-suite because they just refuse to put Evolve on YouTube live anymore. Apparently, they don't do it anymore live. Just 2 weeks in a row, they didn't do it live. But I did do my due diligence and watch some Evolve. So it's time for the C-suite. It's time to talk some WWE Evolve, some WWE LFG, the best WWE weekly show in the world. Evolve this week, mainly about building the women's and men's Evolve championship matches. Everyone's focused on it. The main event saw Shawn Legacy versus Lexis King. The Vanity Project came out and got involved. They jumped Timothy Thatcher, who was in Shawn Legacy's corner, to help Lexis King pick up a victory. I was very strange to me. I was like, Lexis King picking up victories? I haven't seen this since 2023. What is going on here? But yes, he picked up a win in the main event. Then there was an attack to end the show. Something happened. Then you had Callie Armstrong. She picked up another victory. She cut a promo calling out all the ladies when Chanel Monroe, Zeta Steele, and Kylie Ray came out and wanted to throw their name in the hat to fill the last spot in the Women's Evolve Championship matchup. So they will be involved in the number one contenders, a play-in matchup. They're calling it the play-in. Yes, they're using play-in terms. Play-in matchup next week with Ari Bennett to determine who's going to be the last participant in that matchup. Kendall Gray recovering from her knee injury. She recovers from injuries just as well as she does a spear, better than your world heavyweight champion Jey Uso. Kendall Gray once again showing up, showing out, attacked Kelly Armstrong for injuring her last week, so she's going to be ready for that Women's Evolve Championship matchup. The opener of the matchup is people learning that just because you're put on the unemployment line doesn't mean you can't still eat, because Gallus picking up victories. Gallus is picking up victories post-release. They defeated Keanu Carver and Harlem Lewis because Keanu and Harlem could not get along. Harlem attacked Keanu from behind. This sets up finally the battle of the horses that we've been building for the first 2 months of Evolve next week in a play-in matchup for the Evolve Men's Championship. Is going to be Keanu Carver versus Harlem Lewis, but Gallus is on top or on the unemployment line. Either way, they're on top. They're on top of the unemployment line. They're still getting wins. Same as Big Body Javi, who's no more Big Body Javi. He's Headbanger Javi, HBJ, Headbanger Javi. He's wearing nylon shirts like he's a member of the Hardys, and he's got makeup on. He's doing all this. I was like, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? What are we doing? But he picked up a win against It's Gall, and he picked up the big win there, picking up the victory. And
is it really a big win?
It's a big win. It's his first win on Evolve.
What's it gonna lead to, SV3?
Getting released, but still, he picked up a win. He picked up his win on the way out. But the biggest news of the show. Do you know what the biggest news of the show was, Jeremy?
Vanity Project?
No. C-Suite crossover. LFG's own Troy Yearwood has signed with Evolve. I marked out. I was like, I made this happen. I did it. Troy Yearwood, the man who has broken every single record at the Performance Center.
Is he really
signed with Evolve? Huh?
Is he related to Trisha?
Trisha Yearwood?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. But Troy Yearwood, he has signed with Evolve. He's coming to Evolve. He started a rivalry with It's Gall in the backstage after signing his contract with Stevie Turner. Troy Yearwood, he's an absolute, he's got muscles on muscles. He's a black brother, so I'm looking out for my brothers here. He got the world of potential, one of the best drop kicks that you will see in the Performance Center. He's got athleticism for days. He can jump out the building. He can't throw a punch for shit, but he does good at everything else. He's got the look. He's got the look down pat. He's got the athleticism. He's got the strength and conditioning. Troy Yearwood. I'm taking stock. I'm taking stock on Troy Yearwood. He's got a big future ahead of him. Speaking of which, LFG playoffs.
Troy Yearwood should come out to How Do I Live? That's all I want.
See, now we're thinking. We're booking Troy Yearwood pretty well here. We're booking him better than LFG did. So
you've all heard How Do I Live, by the way. You can say who on the Trisha Yearwood. You've all heard this damn song.
But yes, I will go with LFG next because it was semifinals time. We're setting up for the big final showdown. So everyone got a promo to go against the person that they were facing in the matchup, and they had a match on this show. So on the women's side, we had P. Nasty, Penina Telepa going one-on-one with Xena Sterling. Xena Sterling, of course, of Team Bubba, the meal ticket, Xena Sterling, the golden goose, Xena Sterling, the oxymoron, Xena Sterling, the most improved player, Xena Sterling, Ukraine's own Xena Sterling. She's a star. She's got all the intangibles that you look for. She's a student of the game. But man, P Nasty roasted her in that promo. She was like, you ain't ready for that. You just getting bigged up by Bubba. Bubba tried to cut the promo for Xena because Xena just walked away. He was trying to cut the promo, say, I'll embarrass you, P Nasty. I'll embarrass you. Of course, Bubba trying to embarrass a female. Why am I not surprised? But P Nasty is a member of Team Booker. She did very well in the promo, but in the matchup, she did pick up the victory with the Samoan drop, but it was clear as day. This was P Nasty's best matchup, and it was mainly because she was in there with Xena Sterling. She's like improved leaps and bounds over everybody in this whole run up, especially on the ladies' side. Xena Sterling was the better of the two, so she moved on to the finals. And then in the second women's matchup, it was Tyra May Steele, the Olympic gold medalist of Team Undertaker, going against Danny Selensky of Team Mickey. They had a promo where Tyra May Steele's body shamed Danny Selensky. She is like, you have no behind, but I'll turn around so you can see one. Basically, and made her cry. So I think she won the promo, even though she walked out the ring when Danny called her out for body shaming her. She was like, I'm a heel. I could do that. I'm a heel. She shouldn't have said that. You don't need to say that. Just say that that's your character. You don't need to do all that. Because Danny tried to say, oh, I have a gold medal too. She was like, what is your gold medal in? I have a gold medal in the Olympics. You have a gold medal from being a cheerleader. What are we talking about? Yes, let's get her out of here. And then they had the matchup, and they had a really good matchup. I thought that Danny did well selling the knee. In the end, Danny picked up the victory with the Hell's Gate, the Undertaker's old submission. But Tyra May Steele was the better of the two, so Tyra moved on. It's Tyra and Xena from the women's side. Then in the men's, you had Jasper Troy, the monster, the Reaper, Jasper Troy of Team five-time Booker T. And he went one-on-one with the West Coast gangster, sexy BJ Ray of Team Bubba. And the promo was really good. The promo, I would say, out of all the promos you want to see, it's this one because BJ got roasted by Jasper Troy. Jasper Troy says, you're not really good at this. He was like, you're a 2-minute segment before commercial. And it was like, oh, he even had the face like, oh shit, you got me here. But he came back hard. BJ Ray said, man, when I was this just reminds me of when I was in college, when all the people were jealous of me, where I have all the riz to get all the good looking girls on campus, and all the fat bitches are mad at me. And here I have one right in front of me, mad at me again. I was like, oh shit. Even Mickey was like, oh. So good. He's so good on the mic. He sucks in the ring, though. He might be the worst amateur wrestler turned professional wrestler that I've seen in quite some time. The match was not good. Even Bubba called him out on it. He was like, it's not good. And Jasper tried to make up and be like, I can only do as good as I can only do so much. He was like, Bubba was like, no. You want to shit on him, which you should. You need to do that behind closed door, not in front of us. So shut up. And then they gave the point. The point this week went to Shiloh Hill for the men for Team Undertaker, and for the women it went to Xena Sterling for Team Bubba. Shiloh versus Chris Island, which another one they had a good promo exchange, except Chris Island's not as good. Shiloh Hill has the intensity. They had a good matchup though. They worked really well together. Shiloh picked up the win, and he was the one that moved on to the next round. Jasper moved on between him and BJ, and everybody and their mama roasted him. All the legends roasted BJ, be like, you talk too much shit. And then BJ cut a whole promo on these motherfuckers. He was like, Undertaker, you're cool. You know, you asked me about my shoulder when I got injured, and that really meant a lot to me. Mickey, you've always been nice to me. You're good. Booker, I think that you let your whole biases get in the way of actually being a good coach. And Bubba, you're one of the worst coaches that have ever been in professional wrestling. And I was like, oh my God, BJ spitting. He telling the truth out here. He's shooting on him. He's shooting on him, brother. Bubba sucks. Yes.
Bubba tried to fire back. He's like, oh, okay, good job, kid. Good job. Like, yeah, we'll see you down the line. Yeah, we'll see. I'm like, all right, both of you guys just kind of shut up.
Right both now. Of you suck. Both of you suck. You suck at coaching. He sucks in the ring. So.
There you go. The C-suite with SP3. OFG finals are this week, and we will see if Evolve.
I have some news as well.
Oh, okay.
I will be speaking to the winners of LFG.
Ah.
So that will be dropping on Sunday night, immediately following the LFG finals.
So do you know who wins? Do you already know who wins?
Yes, I do. I already do.
Can you tell me so I can pre-write the article?
Sure.
You don't have to put it
Off
here.
air.
Like,
yeah, off air. I can't spoil it. You got to watch LFG, guys. You got to watch. If you really want to know, watch LFG. I've been telling y'all for weeks. I've been telling y'all for like 2-3 months.
There you go. Oh, that's a good. No one deserves to speak to anybody from LFG more than you.
I made my pitch because I think pull back the curtain. Ricky Cheeto was gonna do it. I was just like, dude, I've been pushing this LFG shit for like months.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know anything about it, so sure. I was like, oh, thank you. You're the
good.
best.
Rick should step aside on that. All right. We'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Joel and I don't know what we're going to talk about. Maybe Joel has mean things to say about Dynamite, and we'll use a grifter.
Or mean things to say about me. He'll just say the same things that we talked about on this show. Why does Joel always have to talk about what we talk about? Why he can't come up with anything original? There's a whole bunch of news out there. Man, we could talk about anything. We didn't even talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, the best of Super Juniors. Joel needs to watch some stuff so he could actually talk about some stuff that we don't already talk about.
Get his ass.
But no, best of Super Juniors. Go out of your way to watch Francisco Akira versus Hiromu Takahashi from this morning. Fantastic matchup. Yesterday's show was the best show.
Yeah. Nick Wayne and Destiny
Nick Wayne
from yesterday's show.
Phenomenal matchup. That was awesome. I love Nick Wayne getting the victory over the IWGP Junior Heavyweight champion. That's his best match since he signed with AEW, was against Despy and Kurgan Hall. Kurgan Hall is like the best place to watch pro wrestling, especially in Japan.
I've not been able to watch today's show yet, but I'm caught up otherwise. Nick Wayne and Despy. Do you have thoughts on, because somebody in the chat mentioned earlier, and you were for some reason excited about it the other day, Show and Yo
sucked.
Yeah,
it sucked. It was not good. It was not terrible. Good. I tried to big it up. I tried to say I was excited. I tried. I wanted to like it, guys, but it wasn't good. Like today's matchup with Taguchi, that was much better because it was like 5 minutes of brawling outside the ring before the bell rang, and then the bell rang and he immediately lost. That was
it was technically a 5-second match. It ruled. That was fantastic. I did watch that match. That was very easy to watch.
Shortest match in Best of Super Juniors history. Perfect. Yeah. I turned on the show like a minute in, and they're already like chasing each other around. Then he goes in. Then Taguchi's trying to find where the House of Torture members are at, and Sonata comes out with his clown boots. And Chris Charlton said, "This is like a clown car when you're facing the House of Torture." I was like, perfect. He low blows him, gets back into the ring. The turnbuckle's already opposed. He runs him in the turnbuckle, pins him. 5 seconds. Perfect match. Much better than the Yo match. That was like 15-20 minutes.
I watched
what?
I watched that Show and Yo match with you in mind because like, SP3 was trying to make this seem like he was excited for it. And I tried to say, I was like, I don't know. The bloom is not there with this feud at this point. Like this match just doesn't mean a whole lot. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, is this over? Like, please tell me this is over. I cannot wait to get SP3's opinion on this because you tried. I respect that you tried. Like, Show and Yo, like, yeah, the history. And I'm just like, nope.
I thought it would at least be like a top 4, top 5 match on the show. It was 10 matches on the show. It was the worst match on the show, for sure. For sure. The best 2 matches from yesterday's show is definitely like you said, Nick Wayne and El Desperado. That was tremendous. I love the story with Despy going after his knee and his selling of the knee. I think that's the best selling that I've ever seen from Nick Wayne, and he looked like he overcame something, and then busting out the freaking Tiger Destroyer for the win. That was awesome. And then the main event with Kosei Fujita versus Hiromu Takahashi. Yeah. Hiromu's been balling the last 2 days in Kurgan Hall. Those 2 main events were 2 of the best matches of the tournament so far. And even if the perfect Jeremy matchup on that show, if you haven't watched it, Kevin Knight versus Robbie Eagles, under 9 minutes, great match. It's one of the best 9-minute matches you will see this year.
If you haven't caught up on Best of Super Junior, I'm shocked that Kevin Knight doesn't have a win.
They're building a story because he did say he was great on commentary on day 2 over the weekend, and he said that this might be his last Best of Super Juniors because he's trying to move up to the heavyweight division. So they're building some type of story.
He's getting his ass beat in Best of Super Juniors. He didn't need to go to heavyweight. Can't even beat Yo.
He's never won a singles match in Kurgan Hall. They wanted to keep that streak going. That's crazy. He's gonna have to do that in G1 now if he eventually moves up to that. So we'll see. He needs to catch up on some points. Oh, and Teton versus Mao today was a great match.
I heard that was really
good. Yeah, that was a really, especially the final stretch was really great. And I think that's like most of the point. I love the story now with Ninja Mac is that he's too worried about viral moments because he nearly did a fucking Leon Slater today though, because he did an inverse 630 to the floor and he hit the mat. I swear there was the Young Lions there and there was Kushida there to try to catch him, but he hit the floor. But he immediately just pops up. He looks at the camera. He's like, "Talk about that, Pat McAfee."
They're treating Kevin Knight like he's Ishii. They're like, every time we send Ishii over there, you guys just fucking beat him. So we're gonna take revenge. Kevin Knight. Yeah. Kevin Knight is our junior Ishii over here. He's just going to lose every single match. Deal with that. All right. Joel and I will be back tomorrow. We'll have stuff to talk about. Maybe not. Who knows with how it's going to go. SP3, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. In about 40 minutes, I will be live on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with AE Ramble, talking about AEW Dynamite Beach Break a little bit more in depth with Jimmy Macaram. We'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with the show at first for like the first 30 minutes because that's how that show. It's a lawless show. So yeah, check us out. We have a bunch of fun, and I'm sure you will as well. So join me for that. And Friday, I'll be doing a Dark Side of the Ring review for this week's episode with the original Sheik. Be giving our memories of Sabu a bit on that show on Friday, and then Saturday, the flagship podcast where we'll talk about this week in wrestling. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and Josh.
There you go. We'll be back tomorrow. We have a big Fightful announcement tomorrow, I hope. It really does not concern anybody except for my sanity, and that's all I care about. We'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us in the chat. Appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate you guys always being active. We love you guys. Hope you guys have a good Thursday. Enjoy whatever you're doing tonight. I'm pretty miserable. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in tomorrow. Thunder up, everybody. All right.